out there is safe. Now, it's raining here in California. Yesterday, huge news. Uber, Lyft, and the companies that spent $200 million plus on getting Proposition 22 had a huge victory, and they sure did flaunt it. They sure did celebrate at the headquarters, pop the champagne bottles, right? Because they get to keep drivers classified as independent contractors in California. Now, a lot of drivers have attacked me in this channel saying, well, why are you fighting to get us employee status? Let me make this very clear. I do not want any driver to be an employee, right? That is not what I'm fighting for. What I'm fighting for, and what I was hoping for, is that in appeals court in California, we would have gotten a victory. We didn't, right?
In 1.1.
The drivers lost in appeals court. California lost in appeals court. Now, too many people, too many drivers don't understand the true definition of independent contractor. What can an IC do? What can an independent contractor do? You have a lot of rights, you have a lot of privileges as an independent contractor. And what Uber and Lyft and these other companies are doing, they're muddying the waters, making you think, making drivers believe they are independent contractors. And I'm going to say this for the 5,000th time. We are about 30% independent contractors. The other 70%, a lot of drivers have not even had the chance to experience or step into that role.
Go past this line.
Then at the next one, turn right. Let me just switch off my nav. There we go. It's better. I apologize for that. Back again. Had to switch off the navigation, which is driving me nuts. Now, let's take a step back. This is just for California. What's going on in the rest of the country, state by state, drivers are rising up. Unions, whether you are for them or against them, are rising up. Rideshare associations are being formed, representing drivers, fighting for better conditions. What this channel will do, what I will do, because I'm the face of this channel, I will continue being an advocate for drivers, and listen to me carefully, fight for better pay and fight for safety. I love negotiating, I love mediating, and I love winning, especially in court. I have a good track record in court. What I was hoping for is that Uber and Lyft would have lost on appeal in their biggest market, and the state of California obviously wants money, right? They obviously know that the employee model will not work, and Uber and Lyft would crumble if California was switched to an employee model. But the hybrid model was always pushed by California or by the legislators. Now, somehow, somewhere, God knows how this judge made his decision, or if there were politicians involved, somehow they got the victory, right? I don't know how they got this victory, but they got the victory. And the judge ruled the drivers will remain independent contractors. Now it is our job, our fight, possibly our war, right? To make sure and to ensure that we get treated as independent contractors. And I'm going to repeat this again. I was not fighting, never have been fighting for the employee model. I've been fighting for the hybrid model. And California said all those forms of classifying individuals are so outdated, they need a refresh, right? And they were talking about forming this hybrid model, meaning you're an independent contractor with independent contractor rights. You may even have the right to organize as associations or unions. You should be getting, medical aid. You should be getting overtime. You should be getting certain benefits that an employee gets. But the main thing is that flexibility stands, and how you get rewarded, well, as a true independent contractor, you actually set your rates, right? That's what a true IC does. They get to dictate, oh, I'm not going to take this trip. All conditions have to be transparent. The pricing has to be transparent. The destination has to be transparent. Everything has to be transparent before a true 100% independent contractor can say, I will take that trip. And too many drivers still today think that they are independent contractors. You are a watered down version. You are a lukewarm version of independent contractor. For a very short period of time, and I want to sort of like tell the other drivers around the country, around the world, how it actually worked in California. You were able to set your rates, 1x, 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x. You were setting your own rates. It was called a multiplier. You had the flexibility to switch on the app whenever you wanted. That still exists today. Whether you want to go drive at 2 a.m. or 5 p.m. in the afternoon, that still exists today. You had the ability in California for a year, because they had to comply, to choose without retaliation whether you wanted to take a trip or, decline that pickup destination. Nobody would punish you. But after that year, when they felt empowered, they took all of that away. So the number one money-making market, California, number one. And that's from San Francisco, LA, San Diego, Orange County, whatever, Monterey, San Jose, Sacramento, Palm Springs, or San Bernardino, all of these areas. That's their number one market, is California, right? That's where they make the money. They could not afford to lose the appeal. Negotiated better conditions. We weren't able to do that. But the fight is far from over. Other states have mobilized. Strikes are happening. Boycotts are happening. Walkouts are happening. People are switching off their cars. They're not driving because they're not being paid and they're not being kept safe. So Washington, you could say the state of Washington had a fairly good victory. Minnesota has had a great victory recently because they took it to court. New York, they mobilized 25,000 drivers. They got a 9% increase. And the only way you better conditions for yourself and all those around you is to fight for better conditions, right? And mark my words, it's coming. And it just has to be initiated by 3, 4, 5 drivers, which is called a class action, that Uber and Lyft will be sued fairly soon because they are not living up to the term independent contractors. They are not treating their drivers as independent contractors. If you give us that label, allow us to enjoy that label. Allow us to work under that umbrella of a true independent contractor, which means complete flexibility, set your own rates, no fear of retaliation. You decide where and when you want to drive and where you want to drive to, destination. You decide where you want to pick up, which neighborhoods you want to avoid. That, my friends, is what an independent contractor under the law should be able to do. So drivers will Margie's in the house. Denver's strong. Denver's one of the hardest fighting cities in California because, in the United States. I'm tired. I've been up since 2 a.m. So right now I've been driving for 8 hours already. Denver organized massive strikes and they'll be striking again. And they made headlines. So Denver has the fighting spirit. Denver will change things for Colorado. Colorado will change for the better because the drivers know how to fight. Now, there are too many people that are okay with the conditions, and that is not okay. To accept the current conditions and to say, oh, I'm an independent contractor. I have the flexibility. I'm pretty happy with the pay. I don't know how high your standards are, but they must be pretty damn low if you think that things right now are pretty cool. Now, there are a handful of cities where people are actually making money because they figured out what platform to drive in and they figured out where to drive and they're in the right city. People are making money. I'm not gonna deny that. But the majority, and I'm talking America, even the UK, they fought, they have a lot of protections from the government right now in the UK. They fought for a lot of extras, right? And I'd love to have a UK representative in a live feed and actually update us and actually show Americans what they have achieved. I'd like to have a French driver who speaks English, maybe from Marseille or Paris, explain to American drivers what they have achieved, or what drivers in New Zealand or Australia have achieved by rising up and fighting. And the problem, ladies and gentlemen, here in the United States, don't get me wrong, I love this country, but there are too many people that have such low standards, have set the bar so low that they think that this is pretty cool, this job and this pay. Now, the idea of rideshare, it's great, it's fantastic. You heard it the other day from Jojo. You go out there, you drive, you meet friends, if you offer good service, you get a tip. And the job should be fun. It should be fun. If you figured out how to counter the algorithm, if you figured out how to cherry pick, if you figured out how to work within the system, there is a way. There's always a way to make money. But the sad thing is, there are too many drivers all over. Florida is a big complaint. Too many people in Florida just accept whatever used to be fun. I agree with that, Margie. I agree with that. To me right now, the private sector, private clients is a ton of fun. Right? I've started at 2 a.m. I'm already up to about $700 today. And it's going to be a long day. I'm going to finish sometime tonight. It's going to be a $1,200 day. And I'm having fun. And I'm having the most awesome conversations. I decide. I set the rates. I can decline if I don't want to pick up. So I picked my first client up at 2:45 a.m., 2:45 a.m. I didn't have to do that, but I did it because they pay well. And if you pay me well, I work well. Let me repeat that. If you pay me well, I work well, and I'll give you my everything, and I'll be grateful for a tip. But too many drivers out there think they're independent contractors. They've been spoon-fed and told they're independent contractors. But you're not independent contractors. You are a watered-down version. You are a lukewarm version of IC, independent contractors. And how dare they call you an IC plus? You know, be better calling you an IC minus. Because 25 to 30% of that IC role, that's who you are, not more. And about 75% of that IC role, Californians experienced for 1 year. and then the multiplier was taken away, and then the ability of the destination filter was taken away, etc. So Californians, we are in for a rough time now, but we still have the ability to fight. And probably my next video, I'm gonna have to dress up in my war gear. I think it's time that drivers go to war with Uber. And when I say go to war, I'm not talking Ukraine, Russia. I'm talking about figuring out a smart attack plan to go after Uber and Lyft and to force them to their knees and to get our conditions met. And for that battle, which I'm ready, I'll dress up for that battle, I'll get ready for that battle. I would only want people who understand what's going on right now. I only want people, soldiers on board, that are willing to fight this battle in 2023, that say, thank you, my friend, I appreciate you, Bob. I'll be signing up to your limo course. Use the code HELP20, HELP20. You'll get 20% off. Bob, text me and I'll give you a better percentage. My number or my email. I'll give you a one-time. I'll have my technician, because sharing is caring. And I'm in the mood for sharing today. And I'm also in the mood for fighting. I'm ready to fight after yesterday's news. Because one thing I know is, since they have this victory, they are going to really start taking advantage of California drivers. And California drivers, if you think it was going to get better, it's only going to get worse, unless you fight for it. Right? Bob deserves a discount, absolutely. So we got to fight. You might see me put on my war clothes, my army clothes, and do a live feed. Drivers versus gig companies, we go to war. I assure you, we've had a lot of victories in strategic places. We just need people that are willing to get involved, that are willing to fight it out on social media, and that are most importantly willing to switch off the app. Strike, like New York, strike a second time. Like New York, strike a third time. Fourth time they got their conditions met. One thing I'll put any money amount on is that Uber cannot withstand, Lyft cannot withstand a barrage of ongoing media missiles. When I say media missiles, I mean press release, story after story after story, that drivers are striking and striking and striking and striking. Why? Because they want more money. They want more money. They want more money. Why? Because they want better safety. They want better safety. They want better safety. Right? If we keep those two factors in the headline for weeks, for months, for a year, we will win. We will prevail. Ruben in the house. I assure you that. I assured you many, many years ago that strikes will work. A lot of people said strikes will not work. New Yorkers have shown the rest of the country that striking does work. You get your conditions met. And if New Yorkers are not happy with 9%, they should keep on striking. If you want 20%, fight for 20%, my friends. Fight for the 20%. But to go out there and accept the algorithm and accept every single trip they present you, you are losing, losing, and losing every single day. Because there are so many cost factors people are not taking into consideration in this job. They think they're making money, and they get a rude awakening after 2 or 3 years. And many of you know what I'm talking about. They get a rude awakening, made money, and you get to a point you have haven't even paid off your car and all the maintenance fees and and then your car's done at 250, 300,000 miles, and you still have 2 years of payments. A lot of drivers know what I'm talking about. So if you are prepared to fight for true independent contractorship, for that title, if you're really prepared to fight for that title, you will make money. And I hope I can be one of the many leaders in that field, one of the many advocates who will fight for you. And that's not just fighting for Uber drivers or Lyft drivers, but that's also fighting for Uber Eats drivers, DoorDash drivers, GrubUp drivers, Postmates drivers, Ship drivers, Amazon Flex drivers, right? Because I consider the people in my channel drivers. I would even make videos and fight for taxi drivers, bus drivers, shuttle drivers, because I see drivers as a big extended family. Should all be fighting together for better conditions. Never allow these companies to push you around, to bully you around, and dictate the rates. If they call you an independent contractor, you need to be treated like an independent contractor. And if they are not treating you like an independent contractor, you need to fight for that title and for all the rights and privileges that an independent contractor deserves, right? And it starts off with setting your own pricing, not being questioned when you want to decline a trip because you're not willing to drive there or you're not willing to drive there. You should never ever be questioned as an independent contractor, because there might be another independent contractor around the corner who says, I choose to go there. I choose to work for that fee, right? And so the market regulates itself. But everyone should have their bar set high, not low. And what they're presenting you right now are crumbs and peanuts. And if you're hungry and if you're desperate, you eat crumbs and peanuts. Rise up and stand for more, my friends. Right? So we're going to put an action plan together, and that's a combination of strikes, that's a combination of media, that's a combination of boycotting, protesting, striking at airports, that's a combination of having a social media attack plan. We can easily win this. Just because judges and politicians rule against us doesn't mean that the millions of drivers have surrendered. But you have surrendered if you are accepting shitty rates out there. You have surrendered if you have not learned the art of declining or not accepting a trip, or the art of cherry picking. That, if you do not engage on that level, you have lost this battle. And you, motherfucker. Hey, you motherfucker! Motherfucker! I'll fuck this guy up, dude. Cuts me off in the rain and then looks away, little bitch. Oh! Motherfucker. In the rain, in front of me, hits the brakes to get into a little hole. Definition of a stupid driver. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. You want to see me fuck someone up on the highway? I will gladly do that for you. And the guy was not small. He was not a little guy. Anyway, back. Yeah, I get road rage when that happens. Easily. No problem at all. Because you're going to put my life in danger or my kid's life in danger through your pathetic... He's eating a sandwich and he's cutting through the rain. It's pouring down rain, and he pulls in front of the car, takes a gap and hits the brake. You got to fuck the guy up. So they learn a lesson. Anyways, little bit of road. Yeah, I agree. There's a little bit of road rage come out. I have a temper like a bull. But all good, my friends. Back to reality, back to life, back to reality. road rage aside now, we got to fight for better conditions. And the time has come right now, right? You got to fight for better conditions. Please do not accept the status quo. Please do not accept what they are spoon feeding you, right? Do not lower the level for other drivers. And this is really communicating with your brothers and sisters online, even in social media and Facebook group, right? Set yourself a minimum, but don't go out there and drive for this 50 cents a mile or 60 cents a mile or 35 cents a mile bullshit, because you're pulling all the rest of us down, right? Outsmart the algorithms. Work against the machine that's set up against you, and you will be victorious. Salute. Now it's time for a coffee. It's pissing down rain. I have to go and pick up another baby seat. I have a baby seat for passengers that have babies. But today I have two little babies in the car. I have twins. So these guys want two baby seats. So I only have one baby seat. So here I go to go and buy another baby seat. Margie's in the house. Let me give you a shout out. I apologize for that. Definitely, oh, there's Alpine, my favorite sound system. I truly wanted to fuck this guy up in this BMW. But let me give you a shout. I've got 28 people in the room. Hit that like button. I almost had to get off the freeway in the rain there. If that guy would have said game on, I would have left the live feed on. I would have left it on. Now, my friend, my boxing friend, Peter Smith from South Africa is in town in LA. I will most likely make a live feed with him. He's one of my closest friends. He was signed to fight Mike Tyson. He was a heavyweight. He sparred and fought with all the biggest and greatest, Klitschko's, and he was signed up to fight Tyson in China. And that was when Tyson was on his way down. Tyson had already lost 2 or 3 fights, and Tyson backed out of that fight. And he is now he was trained under Freddie Roach. He's one of the top, well, he is the top trainer in South Africa. He has a stable of fighters. They were just on the undercard of the Tyson Fury fight in England. He's got a guy called Kevin Lorena, who's top notch, and several other greatest fighters. So I'll introduce you to him tomorrow. That guy, my friends, can fight. He is a definition of a true fighter. It's a guy you don't want to take on. I've seen that guy knock out 6, 7, 8 people in a very, very short period of time. Oh, the rain does fucking crazy things to people. So yeah, huge, in my eyes, a huge setback. I wish we had won that so we could have started negotiating from a point of power. I really, really was hoping we would win in court yesterday. And be called into that discussion with California. Like, what do drivers want? And I still maintain the best outcome, the best model out there would be a combination of IC, independent contractor, with certain employee rights. And we're ready for that. Uber and Lyft is not ready for that. So go look up the definition of independent contractor, ladies and gentlemen. Go study that. Make sure you understand. Well, SVB banks, complete mismanagement there. What they did is pretty simple. I had a big money manager on my car. I have several of my clients manage billions of dollars for clients. So they explained it, and they all explained it the same way. These guys loaded up and put too much in long-term bonds. They loaded up so heavily in long-term bonds, and when interest rates go up, those long-term bonds, they just basically collapse. So they hadn't diversified. And here they are, loaning money to Silicon Valley, but they couldn't back it up. So they got a bailout once again, and a lot of these little banks are going to be swallowed for cents on the dollar by big banks. Big banks are going to swoop in and completely capitalize on this. They'll be swallowing little banks left, right, and center. So now's the time for the big banks to go shopping. This is nothing big. This is just it's a slap on the wrist, but people's monies are safe. I mean, you're insured up to $250,000 if you have that deposit in a bank. If you had $750,000 in savings, all you'd have to do is spread that out over 3 banks: Wells Fargo, Bank of America, and another bank. You'd be insured $250,000. What you don't want to do is load up and put if you have a lot of money, you don't put all your money into one banking group, because if it does go south, you're not going to get your money. But the money is there. These guys just fucked up. The horrible thing is that these directors at this Silicon Bank, they all paid themselves out bonuses when everything collapsed. So I believe government steps in, FTC, they'll be taking over those banks. 2 or 3 banks will be taken over by the government. And I'm pretty sure those directors will not get their bonuses. They'll lose their jobs, they won't get their bonuses, they'll be disgraced because they fucked it up, right? They just loaded up too heavily in, long-term government bonds, interest rate go up, and everything just collapsed. How do you negotiate terms with whom? With Uber and Lyft? Dining on the finest, juiciest cherries. Indy, I want a few of those. So very good question. How would you negotiate with Uber and Lyft? Let's say they would have lost on appeal. At that moment, the government, or California, at least the state of California, would feel very empowered, and they would get a lot of associations and organizations and unions involved. Now, there's a lot of people that are pro-union because of the muscle, and there's a lot of people that are anti-union. But at the end of the day, California would have representatives at the table, namely drivers. They would include drivers in the conversation. State can't come in and say, oh, we're turning all of you drivers into employees. They know that model doesn't work. They know Uber and Lyft would collapse. They know that drivers wouldn't sign up for that. But they would sit down and work out a model where the company still wins, the state has to win, and the driver has to win, right? And right now, the only way I can see you winning as a driver is if you own your own company, you own your own cars, and you have your own state license from the state. In California, it's called a TCP, Transport Charter Permit, and they have different names, TNC, TLC, they have different names around the country. But the only way you win is by stepping into true independent contractorship. So you do one of 2 things. You go out, you start your own company, or you fight for better independent contractor rights. You fight for better conditions, right? Doesn't happen overnight. You have to be strategic, you have to be smart, you have to be relentless, and you have to be willing to fight, and you have to be willing to engage social media and the media, right? That's how you win. But I gave you those 2 options. Those are the only 2 ways you will win. Nick is in the house. Yeah, buddy's in the house. I like it. We all need to be winners. I like your attitude, right? If you go out in life, whether you're in a relationship or a marriage or a friendship or with your kids, all you constantly trying to do, even in a business deal, in a transaction, you're trying to set up win-win situations, right? Both parties need to walk out and say, hey, I feel good in this deal. I feel good in this deal. Good, shake hands, win-win. But it's when it's I win, you lose, right? And it's a big middle finger to drivers. That's when things go haywire. That's when things go south. Drivers are not going to be put in this situation, oh, I lose. No. I'm not gonna go through day by day knowing, hey, I'm losing today. I'm losing tomorrow. I'm losing next week. I'll change that. I'll change that formula. You have to set up for yourself a win-win formula, right? For you, what works for you. Not for Torsten, Rideshare Professor, for you, for Margie, for your buddy, right? You have to set up a formula that works for you. And if it means you have to step outside of your comfort zone temporarily and start your own company and become a true independent contractor and maybe sacrifice 6 months to then start making real money, so shall it be. Or if it means you rise up against these companies and say, you know what, I'm not going to work for pennies and crumbs. I'm going to fight for better conditions, and I'm going to get that because my standards are high. My standards are not low. There are too many drivers in this country that have no standards, zero standards or low standards, and they're willing to drive for peanuts, they're willing to drive for crumbs, and the rest of the drivers are paying the price. We got to change that. And that is often in the culture and the mentality, right? UK did it. France did it. The New Yorkers stood together. What did the New Yorkers do to win? Let's look at their model. I mean, they're Americans. California got their ass handed to them yesterday. New York got a victory. How did New York do it? So you look at successful formulas and you start implement. Minnesota got a huge victory. Washington already got a better victory than anyone else around the country because they have their minimums, right? They still have their flexibility. They still have the Uber, they still have their Lyft, but they have their minimums, right? They can rely on minimums. Strikes are the way to go. That's my recipe. You want to hear my recipe? Relentless strikes, just like the New Yorkers. You follow a successful formula. You duplicate a successful formula. You don't strike once. Oh, you didn't listen to me? We'll strike again. Oh, you're still not listening? Okay, we'll strike again. Oh, you don't want to cooperate? Okay, you'll strike again. They cannot withstand a barrage of strikes. So yeah, you're really going to get involved with that. Strategize, implement, roll out strikes and protests. And very often, not just once, multiple times. Until we get the conditions met for that state. Until we can help Florida. Until we can help Nevada. Until we can help New Mexico. Until we can help Utah. Until California finally gets it together. California doesn't have their shit together. It's too divided. New York, they have the fighting spirit. I gotta say it. Whether you love or hate New Yorkers, they know how to fight. Just like the guy early on, almost road rage, probably just looking at him did not know how to fight because he could not look at me because he already knew he had lost. He already knew I was on him, right? He already was looking away. His body language already surrendered. So that's an easy victory right there. But the companies have money, and as long as they have Tony West and other bullshit attorneys involved, they will fight. They will fight and fight and fight. Let me just show you here what this looks like. Driving through the storms. Driving through the storms. Melvin, you're right. And again, there are a lot of drivers said, I'm glad it happened. I'm glad I still am an independent contractor. I'm glad that Uber and Lyft won. I want to remind those drivers with that mindset, you have not won. Because you have been conned into believing you're an independent contractor. You don't even know what an independent contractor deserves and what they should be getting. They have spoon-fed you baby food, and you are believing that you're an independent contractor. Oh, I have my flexibility. Ladies and gentlemen, let's wake up. Flexibility is one of many qualities of an independent contractor. Independent contractors, you supply me with a trip, I supply the passenger with a price. I set the price. You supply me with the trip and the destination, I can decline that destination. I don't have to go into that area if I feel unsafe. So a lot of people just don't understand what a true independent contractor can do and cannot do, right? Oh, so no, I don't want to become an employee. I don't want to become an employee either. That's not what I'm fighting for. I'm fighting either for proper IC status, proper independent contractor status, or a hybrid. If you're calling me an independent contractor and this is all you're willing to give me, well then give me some hybrid version of what an employee also gets, right? You know, medical help, holiday, off time, paid time. But to go out there and say, oh, you know, everything's great. I personally, that's my opinion, I think we can do way better pay-wise, way better pay-wise, way better pay-wise. We can fight for way better pay. And we certainly deserve better safety. We certainly deserve to be kept safe. And there is a boatload of things these companies can do to keep us safe, but they're not willing to pay the money. And they're not willing to alienate certain thugs, certain riders. Because they'll take money from any single hoe who has a dollar. Any pedophile, any rapist, any domestic violent abuser, any assaultant, any murderer, they will take $1. They are just not able to set some standards and have some ethics. And that's what creates the danger, the unsafety in your car, ladies and gentlemen, because you never know who's in your backseat. You never know whether he has a hoodie on or no hoodie on, right? Whether he has a hoodie on or no hoodie on. You just do not know who's in your car. You have no idea. Salute! Salute! Please hit the like button. Smash that like button. Especially if you like better pay. Especially if you want safety. Smash that like button. Now we're driving into the canyons. Thank you. I got like 3 or 4 likes there. Appreciate it. Now we're driving into the Malibu canyons. So at some point, the signal will go. I know it already. But I mean, here we are. We're heading into the Malibu canyons. Rainy, stormy day. Not Stormy Daniels, but stormy weather. Again, not Stormy Daniels, but stormy weather. And the hills are green. To all my Texas drivers, especially in Austin, Texas. I'll read that just now. I'm just driving through the rain, so I'm trying to be safe here. Now we're heading into the canyons. Now, ladies and gentlemen, 12 minutes from here, you're at the ocean, you're in Malibu. 12 minutes from this point. But I have to head off into the mountains, and I often see street races late at night racing through these canyons. They have these meetups and you'll see a lot of these Challengers, Dodge Challengers, Camaros, they race here. 911s, this is like one of the racing areas that I'm taking you to. At night, you'll always see cars getting together here, and then they race through the canyon. It's like an adrenaline rush. I mean, I've raced through here with my Tesla at top speed, and it does definitely give you an adrenaline rush. But we're like here, this is sort of like where the race starts. I'm gonna briefly get off the road here. True, learn which, I'm just gonna get out and get some fresh air. I need some fresh air, some oxygen. It's been a long day. I started at 2 a.m. I've been going non-stop since 2 a.m. So it's almost 8.5 hours. Love those Land Rovers. Anybody else love those Land Rovers? So it's pissing down rain. Close my windows. It's pissing down rain. Gotta say, had a super night at the Oscars. Drove the red carpet, and then I did all the after parties. That was really good money, right? I had some famous Asian actress, can't mention her name, assigned to me, and the Asian and the agent, Asian actress and her agent, and then you get all the. You get like, this is not pink, this is not Lyft, ladies and gentlemen, right? It says 95th Annual Academy Awards, car number 672. And then you get all the instructions and, all the documents, which after parties, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, they made it all pink, like Lyft. Maybe Lyft was the sponsor, who knows? Maybe Lyft was the sponsor of the Oscars, the 95th Annual Academy Awards, right? But it was fun because you see a lot of these people, right? All the who is who in the zoo. And then, man, do they party afterwards. They party like rock stars, right? It goes till early in the morning, just party after party, this after party, that after party. Reminds me a lot of Coachella and Stagecoach out in Palm Springs. Indy, how are you? Living the life. Look, I think everyone can live the life. It all has to do with your attitude, right? It's your attitude. How do you want to live your life, right? Do you want to be depressed? Do you want to be sad? Do you want to put in the effort? I think you decide, right? Everyone decides their own destiny. I mean, you want to sleep in every day and lie on the couch and drive from fast food outlet to fast food outlet. You ignore your health. You don't care about your health. You don't care about relationships. You decide, right? So you decide how you live your life. It's a beautiful rainy day in California, and we're heading off into, I'm going to drive a little bit down here. Let me drive a little. There's not many cars on this road, and it's pretty windy. At some point, ladies and gentlemen, this is where these races start. They start off usually at 11, 12 o'clock at night. To see these groups, 20, 30 cars, and they start racing this drag here through the canyons. But at some point, I am going to lose the signal. Shout out to you guys. Much love from rainy California to you, to your families. Be safe out there, please. Be safe. Do what it takes. It almost looks like Switzerland here. So green, the countryside. It almost looks like Ireland. The Irish farmlands. We're driving through the Irish farmlands, lads and lassies. Look at it. Beautiful, luscious green here. Fantastic. It's fucking fantastic. It looks like parts of Ireland or Wales or Scotland here. No, we are in Malibu. Malibu. Palm trees. You don't have palm trees in Wales. You don't have California palm trees in Scotland. So, oh yeah, we're in Malibu. We're not in Scotland, ladies and gentlemen. Will Smith doesn't stay too far from here. I would say about, man, and they roasted Will Smith at the Academy Awards. Poor guy. One of my clients, Jamie Foxx, he lives about 10 minutes away from here. Will Smith is not my client, but he's very, very close to this area. Just pulling over here. We have a lot of like these horse ranches, big, massive ranches. They're expensive. Like real estate here is pretty damn expensive. So I'm taking you to a part of California that maybe you haven't traveled with me yet. Yeah, Will was wrong. His wife cheated on him. So did Chris Rock roast him as well. Chris Rock roasted him in the Netflix series. He definitely threw him under the bus. Chris Rock could not have been happy with last year's performance. He got slapped in the face. Shouldn't have happened. And I think he's completely taken by surprise. So, as much as you say, oh, he should have fought back or slapped back, he's just completely taken by surprise. Wasn't expecting it. So what's interesting here is that through these S-curves, and now it gets like really hilly and windy, these guys race at night. I've seen them. I've been here at 12 o'clock at night, and they're racing through here at 90, 100 miles an hour through these passes. There's no cops out here, no man's land. And this is where a lot of the Los Angeles racers like to play with their toys. So I'm gonna head over to my client. They live behind that ridge. There's a lake. In fact, I'll drive as far as I can. How about it? Let me drive as far as I can. And when I get there, I might have lost the signal. That's the one thing. May have lost the signal. If not, I have to briefly go offline for about 30 seconds because I have to get the gate code. I do not know the gate code. I don't have it memorized. There's so many different gate codes when you... The signal lasts for, might vanish any second. You can imagine racing this area at night. Nice dip here, like a roller coaster, dips down. Horse country. Mark my words, the next big lawsuit against Uber and Lyft are going to be filed by a group of drivers that will force Uber and Lyft to treat independent contractors like independent contractors. If you call us independent contractors, you have to treat us independent contractors. That means we make independent decisions. We decide on the pricing. We decide if we want to or do not want to pick up at a specific location. That lawsuit is coming. After this appeal that California lost, now drivers are going to strike. And my guess, Rideshare Drivers United will organize that movement. I'm surprised the signal usually dies round about here. I've been through this many a times. I'm surprised the signal is still holding. But man, this is like Ireland, man. This is like Scotland. This is like going through the countryside here. And then this is famous Mulholland Highway. You know, like the movie Mulholland Drive, and then they continue either there or there. They don't race down here because this is where the communities, this is where the homes are and the lakes. They don't race down this way. They turn a left or a right there. Signal still holding up. So you're losing me already? Yeah, some people are reporting that already losing me. So the signal is